Statistics vary, but most people who make New Year's resolutions don't keep them, and most quit within 1 to 2 months. Why is that? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. And this will help you not only with New Year's resolutions, but any goal or thing that you're pursuing for that matter. So let me know in the chat what kind of experiences you've had with New Year's resolutions. And while you're doing that, let me introduce myself. My name is Valerie Pugsley. I coach people and help them navigate the self-sabotage, which often looks like procrastination, perfectionism, and overwhelm, so that they can make the progress they're wanting to make in their business and have an impact in their families and their communities. Now let's get into it. Why don't they work? At least this is one of the observations I experienced when I was making New Year's resolutions. And that's the fact that there's really not a lot of thought put into it. We decide at a New Year's Eve party when other people start talking about New Year's resolutions, and on the whim we go, yeah, I think I'll do one too. And we come up with something on the spur of the moment. There's a lot of reasons why that doesn't work. We'll talk about that in a minute. And often those resolutions are vague. They're not very specific, and we don't have a real reason why it's important. So before we get into other reasons, let's explore these three a little more deeply. How committed are you really to that resolution that you came up with at a party after a few drinks? Probably not very committed. If you're really serious about change, you want to create a resolution, which in reality is a goal, right? Something that you want to get better at or change or make happen in the new year. You need to give it some thought. Is it part of a bigger vision? Is it a piece to a bigger vision? And why is it important? Like really, really important. So let me give you an example. I was speaking to a gentleman in a hotel lobby a few years back. We were discussing weight loss, and he was saying he wanted to lose weight. And I don't know if it was saying he wanted to lose weight or he wanted to get healthy or one of the two. And he gave me a list of a whole bunch of things he was going to do. Well, first off, if we're going to do a whole bunch of things at once, unless we have somebody walking alongside us to help us in that, probably not going to be very successful at it. So breaking it down into something smaller, one, is helpful. But anyway, back to the story. So as I was talking to him, I said, well, why is it important for you to get healthy? And at first, his answers were, what you would expect. And it's kind of the things that we hear or the things that we're told, right? Well, it's important because of, for our health or for our this or for our that. And that's all true. But as we dug deeper and finding out why it's important, real reason why it was important is because he wanted to be around for his grandkids the way his grandmother had been around for him. Now, that's a compelling reason to lose weight or to get healthier. And we'll get into why those two goals, as they're stated, are not good and better ways to state them. But that's a more compelling reason. So if he's trying to exercise after a long day's work and he comes home and he's tired and he's thinking, oh, I need to do this because I need to get healthier, or I need to do this because I want to be around for my grandkids like my grandmother was for me, which one is going to motivate him to push through the tired and get up and do the work? The latter. That's why your why is so important. A lot of people nowadays are pursuing side gigs, side hustles to their 9 to 5, or maybe after they retired, they're wanting to continue and do another project or do either business or nonprofit or something. But why is it important? If it's just for the income, probably not going to be real motivating. But if it's because the thing you're doing is a solution to a problem that people have, or maybe it's a problem that you've overcome, or maybe you want the income so that you aren't a burden on your children in your senior years. Whatever that reason for the side gig, you really need to get deep on why it's important. A lot of resolutions are too vague. So for the example that we were talking about earlier, the gentleman wanting to get healthier or to lose weight, those are too vague. Our brain really likes specifics, kind of like a Google filter, right? If you put in too vague of a search term, you don't get very good results. So instead of losing weight, some people will go and say, well, I want to lose 20 pounds in 2 months. So while that's better because it's time and specific and has numbers, it's focused on the outcome, which we're going to get into that more in a minute. But more specific, the better. So if instead we said, I'm going to walk 3 times a week, or I'm going to increase my servings of vegetables to 5 servings a day, something along those lines, specific to our health, is going to do a whole lot better than just say, I want to get healthier or lose weight. And the beauty of that is, one, it's easy to measure. Two, our brain is going to start looking for those opportunities. It's going to look for times when it's good to walk. It's going to look for more vegetables to eat or times to eat vegetables. It's going to serve you and help you accomplish that goal. Our brains are amazing. I talk about that a lot in some of my other videos if you want to check those out. So basically, when you're setting a New Year's resolution or any goal, if it says more, I want more of, or I want less of, I want to do less, that's a key that you need to look at it and make it more specific. So let's practice in the chat. Share a goal that you're working on or resolution that you're thinking about, and rephrase it so that it doesn't say more or less and it's real specific. I'd love to see how you're doing. And if you need help, I'll be happy to help you. All right, let's look at a few more reasons why New Year's resolutions don't work. A lot of times our resolutions and our goals are outcome-based, achievement-based. We're focused on the result that we want, but not how to get there. So we may want to lose weight, or we may want to lose 20 pounds in 2 months. Well, that's very ambitious when the average weight loss goal is 2 pounds a week, right? That's about 4 pounds over. And what will happen with that goal is after 2 or 3 weeks, if you're not getting it, you're going to feel like, oh, there's no chance, and you'll just give up. So instead of focusing on how much weight you want to lose, focus on how you plan on losing it. And depending on how you do with goals, I would only pick 1 or 2 habits to start with and really get it going. And here's a bonus tip. It takes on average 67 days to create a new neural pathway, which is where your habits live. So you're going to need to work on it for a couple of months before it's really locked in. But maybe some things like drinking half your body weight in water, or having 75% of your plate be vegetables, or walking 5 times a week, right? What is that habit that you can do that's doable, that your brain's not going to freak out and go, this is scary, I don't want to do it. And you can actually move it forward and make progress with it. Another goal might be centered around money, and you might say that you want to spend less. Well, let's get more specific. Spend less on what? Maybe you eat out. Maybe you eat out a lot. So instead of eating out 5 nights a week, maybe you'll say, I'm only going to eat dinner out 1 night a week, and the maximum bill is going to be $40. I don't know, just throwing it out there. But you see, getting more specific and focused on the habit that's going to get you the result, that's where the focus needs to be. And just to give you a few ideas, if a side gig is the thing you're pursuing, what are some of the habits there? A lot of times when people are doing side gigs, they're focusing on admin type of things rather than actual income generating activities. So setting aside a certain amount of time each week to work on income generating, and even listing out what those are to start with. Typically, it's going to involve having conversations with people. It's not likely to be fixing your website, creating social media posts unless those posts are generating conversations. So a good goal if you're wanting to do something that's related to a side gig, assuming it's say, a service-based product or a service-based solution, is having conversations with potential clients and customers or potential referral partners. If you are starting a side business, I'd love to hear about that in the chat as well. Let me know. And another thing that I've learned and experienced myself is that New Year's resolutions are too long range. This idea of planning the whole year out, while it may work for some people, it doesn't work for a lot of people, and it didn't work for me. Remember how I shared with you that it takes on average 67 days to create a new neural pathway, right? So 3 months is 90 days. So the 67 is average. So instead of thinking about a resolution for a whole year, how about focusing on a goal for the first quarter? That's a shorter term, more doable, less scary, less vague for the brain, and we can pivot and iterate along the way. And at the end of the 3 months, we get to set a new goal, continue with the goal that we set, revise it as we need to, or should I say resolution, and make a whole lot more progress than if we set up something for the whole. And besides the fact that if after 67 days we do accomplish the thing, it is time to set a new goal or to add on to it or amp it up some. So those are some of the reasons why New Year's resolutions don't work. And there's just a few more that I want to address briefly. If you're anything like I am, some people, and for years this was my challenge, had so many ideas they don't know what to focus on. I don't know. I've been there a lot of times. I don't know about you. Have you ever been there? Some people are more externally motivated versus internally motivated. So you know that internally motivated person who they just say, this is what I'm going to do, and they go and they do, and they just get it done, and it happens. And yet others of us that are more externally motivated, we need an outside motivator, whether it's another person or a purpose or a reason, something outside of ourselves. And for people like that, accountability groups and coaches can be a good solution. And even with all that, the biggest thing that I see that keeps people from accomplishing their goals is what I call conflicting beliefs. Some people might call it limiting beliefs. So our brain is designed to protect us. And when it perceives something as scary or dangerous, it's going to protect us. And so it's going to throw up roadblocks and things in our way to keep us from accomplishing that thing that's going to stretch us beyond our comfort zone. And you really need to discover what those are, whether you do it on your own or you get somebody to help you. And then there's a process for changing that. If you need help getting more clarity, you're not really connected as to why something's important, or you do hit those stumbling blocks all the time and you need help discovering your conflicting beliefs, there's a link in the description below for a workshop that I have coming up that can help with all those things. And in the meantime, there's another video here that you might find helpful about conflicting beliefs.